Welcome, everybody, back to another exciting show, the About That Wallet podcast. My name is Anthony, and I'll be your host today, pretty much all the time because it is my show. For those of you who are new to the show, I want to say thank you for joining. For those of you who are longtime listeners or just listened to a couple episodes in the past, I just want to say welcome back. Today on the About That Wallet podcast, for those of you who do not know how the show works, I do talk about a little bit of history, something about a little bit of strategies, and also talk about the futures. So today I actually want to talk about the unemployment numbers and how some of the states are planning to shut down the unemployment options. And I actually thought that was pretty funny to hear when I came across it back in May 7th. And two states were doing it. I believe it was Mississippi and it was another state that said that they were actually planning on shutting down. So I'm talking about it again today that 18 other states are now planning to shut down the unemployment. So let me just show this here. I'm going to share with everyone that's watching on YouTube uh, something here that shows the different states, because I got an article from someone that sent me a message that shared with me that the marketplace had recently um, said that 18 other states are going to start cutting off people's unemployment. All right, so if we take a look here, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, that no, actually took a couple notes. So on Market Watch, it actually shows that jobless Americans in the last 18 states are about to get a rude awakening. They say here, as the major subtitle, many workers in the states that are cutting benefits will be desperate to keep body and soul together, says Stephen Warner, a senior fellow of the National Academy of Social Insurance. Now, I'm just kind of skip through some of this, just kind of get to some of the states. So they say some state lawmakers are pulling the plug on enhanced federal unemployment benefits since the last onset of the pandemic. Every state has accepted federal unemployment aid and enabled them to distribute benefits to out of work people who normally would not qualify for them. States have also been has also been handing out extra federal benefits, including additional $600 at one point, and to all unemployed workers on top of their state benefits. But I'm going to skip down a little bit. They said some 18 states are opting out of federal unemployment benefits programs. The states which have Republican governors include Alaska, Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, Georgia, Idaho, Iowa, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, North Dakota, Ohio, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Utah, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Now, one of the things that struck out to me doing this is that it's really interesting that all these states are now deciding to cut back instead of joining the other two states back in early May. So I believe if you notice that the president's message has been the same, which is to get everyone back to work come July 4th. So I really think, even though it's only 18 that have recently just joined, I really think that we're going to look into see a lot more people changing that. However, that's in the future. I want to continue on to go back a little bit to the past to kind of understand exactly how did unemployment even come about. So I'm actually looking at Investopedia. They really have some good articles here, but they actually start off with what is unemployment. So if you look at the very first one, The very first question here, which is some of the typical questions that we hear all the time. So, what is unemployment? Unemployment occurs when a person who is actively searching for an employment is unable to find work. Unemployment is often used as a measure of health of the economy. The most frequent measure of unemployment is the unemployment rate, which is the number of unemployed people divided by the number of people in the labor workforce. Uh, First off, these numbers will never be accurate because a lot of the workers are undocumented. So how do they actually get these numbers? It's beyond me, but they try to find a way. So understanding unemployment. Unemployment is a key economic indicator because it signals the ability or inability of workers to readily attain gainful work to contribute to the productive output of the economy. Now, the reason why this is important is because there are a lot of able bodies and even able seniors that are able to work and they just not able to find a job, either A, because of age discrimination, which is illegal and unconstitutional, but it's done. You have incarcerated people who were recently incarcerated that could technically still be able to work and are able to work, but they cannot find work because they were incarcerated. For some odd reason, whether guilty or not, it's just the way how things are. So when it comes to these numbers, I really think you should look at them with a grain of salt. So not with a grain of salt, but it does give you at least 80% of overall what's happening. So I think we should also dive into the different types of unemployment, which they have here. So the first type of unemployment that they have here is frictional unemployment. Frictional unemployment occurs as a result of people voluntarily changing jobs within an economy. As a person leaves the company, it naturally takes time to find another job. Similarly, graduates just entering the workforce add a fractional unemployment. Usually, this type of unemployment is short lived and so forth. So, if you think about it, the fractional unemployment is pretty much just an in between jobs. I'm going to roll through this. So, cyclical unemployment is a variation uh, in the number of unemployed workers over the course of economic upturns and downturns, such as these related to changing oil prices. Unemployment rises during recessionary periods and declines during periods of economic growth, preventing the alleviation. Cyclical unemployment during recessions is one of the key reasons for the study of economics and the purpose of the various policy tools that governments employ on the downside of the business cycles to stimulate the economy. Now, this is interesting. I never heard of cyclical unemployment. However, you can't just file for unemployment because of it, but it'll be interesting to see. So, structured unemployment comes about through technical changes in the structure of the economy in which labor markets operate. Technically, technological changes such as the replacement of horse-drawn transport by automobiles or automation of manufacturing lead to unemployment among workers displaced from jobs that are no longer needed. Retraining those workers can be difficult, costly, and time-consuming, and displacement workers often end up either unemployed for extended periods of for extended periods or leaving the labor workforce entirely. Now, the structured unemployment, I have seen with my own eyes, basically when it comes to the grocery store. You can go to the grocery store and notice that for some odd reason, you have all of these self-checkout lines. Now, some people like them, some people don't. I'm one of the people that I'm like, all right, well, create at least 4 lanes for auto checkout, especially during COVID times. If nobody want to talk to anyone or don't want to really have anyone handle their food besides them, and the workers that actually package the food in the first place. So you have that. For me, I actually like to keep people's jobs. So if I'm in line, I'm waiting in line for a person. I do not like self checkout for that reason, because I was like, you're here to do a job. So just do the job and let's keep it moving. Though the self checkout line is very pleasing because you can get out a little faster. So there are pros and cons to each, but I still prefer to have a person, especially if there's errors. I do not want to deal with the computer and trying to figure out things. I'd rather just let the person deal with it, and I can just sit there and make things happen. And also with self checkout, people lie all the time, like, "Oh yeah, uh, I bought Gala apples, but really it was supposed to be Fiji apples." So there could be some numbers wrong, and also the price is different. So you set your price when you go to self checkout. Um, don't try to do the same thing. Please be honest. It's those of you who are out there that do it. But anyway, I'm going too far in. But what I want to say is that when it comes to that change in market, that's something you have to think about. Even when you think of your current employment, it is good to innovate. It's not wrong to innovate. So I don't want to make it seem like it's something wrong. Either you got to learn and adapt like everyone else, or you can easily be moved on to another market for someone, and someone that will replace you, that is willing to adapt to the situation and move on, because a lot of people don't have time for it anymore. You gotta stay reading, you gotta stay up to par in your industry. If you do not stay up to par in your industry, you'll easily fall behind and become unemployed, like this structured unemployment. So let's move on to the next unemployment here that they have listed. Let me share my screen again. All right. So we have institutional unemployment. So institutional unemployment is unemployment that results from long-term or permanent institutional factors and incentivized in the economy. Government policies such as high minimum wage floors, generous social benefit programs, and restrictive occupational licensing laws, labor markets phenomena such as efficiency wages and discriminatory hiring, and labor market institutions such as high rates of unionization can can all contribute to the institutional unemployment. Now that's something different. I'm not part of a union. I haven't seen anything like that before, so that's pretty interesting that they have it here. Now, I want to go directly to what the Bureau of Labor Statistics has here. When it comes to, like, why does what do I have here? The basic concepts, because in order for us to talk about unemployment, we have to also understand employment. So the basic concepts of employment and unemployment. So the basic concepts involved in identifying the employed and unemployed is quite simple. People with jobs are employed. People who are jobless, looking for a job, are available to work and are unemployed. Labor force is made up of the employed and unemployed. People who are neither employed or unemployed are not in the workforce or in the labor force. So, I mean, those are plain and simple. But one of the things I like to talk about that I thought was interesting is who is counted as unemployed. I know I talked about the 4 different types of employment, but I want to the um, talk about the people who, like, how they actually count an unemployed person. So people who are classified as unemployed, if they do not have a job, have actively looked for work in the prior 4 weeks and are currently unavailable. Are currently available to work. Actively looking for work may consist of the following activities: contacting an employer directly for a job interview, a public or private employment agency, friends or relatives, a school or university center. gotta submit resumes or follow-ups. I mean, or filling out applications, place or answering job advertisements, checking union or professional registries, and some other means of active job search. And I think if you look at some of the unemployment stuff, you will actually be informed to provide some of that information, if I'm not mistaken, on a website, just to kind of show, hey, did you actually reach out to these particular jobs? So you just to kind of to share that information. Um, let's see who's not in labor force. They have some good information here on the BLS.gov, which is really good. It's the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Pretty nice office if you ever get a chance to go inside the building in DC. Been there, it's pretty cool. Let's see. Now, there is also some data here that they have, which is said that you can check out the numbers when they release everything. But this goes back to why it is important to fill out your census, and not just fill out the census, but also stay employed by the state. Even though it's funny that they can figure out that you are employed by filling out your stuff, but when it comes to doing your taxes, they have no clue who you are, where you at, which I always thought was funny. So, I mean, hopefully one day we'll get this cleared away. Um, all right, so I think I'm gonna stop there regarding the reading some information about it. But all in all, because the unemployment rate is actually going up, and some of the people really think that everything is going to happen and it's supposed to happen, and the stimulus money worked the way it should. I believe that's the case. The numbers and growth also, when it comes to the consumer price index, has been flat over the last 2 months, which is good, which means that the stimulus money that came in really helped people out. That's $1,600. And then if you think about it, even though a lot of people didn't get their money the next month, which is April, then that means that either a lot of people are actually working or just starting to spend more money inside the big box stores or inside the companies that are around, which is good because it really helps out with what's happening in the market. And it actually shows that a lot of people are having confidence in opening up the stores again. However, I really think that some of the states are planning on giving people $1,200 just to kind of start to go back to work. Would you take the $1,200 to start going back to work if you are one of those people that are collecting your unemployment benefits right now? You know, if that's a motivator, hey, it's a one-time fee to get you back on your feet. However, a lot of people will look at it like, well, I'm making, more than what I was as a waiter or a waitress. And for me to actually go back to work, it doesn't make sense. So I actually do have on my offers page as aboutthatwallet.com/offers. I do have 2 free courses for moms, even though they say for moms, it's really for anybody, to get you started and on your feet so you can start working from home and maintain that life balance that you have in the past. So you can start making money online, doing just about anything. I saw an article recently where I think this guy and this lady was actually uh, were waiters and waitresses, and the wife started doing what do they call it, OnlyFans, which I thought was interesting. So OnlyFans, for those of you who don't know what OnlyFans is, it is a website where people will pay a subscription fee to see for art. It really was for artists, so like musical artists or other content creators to kind of make money for their followers, from their followers, so they can continue on making the content that their fans love. However, some people actually use it for other things. Sadly, so it's like for the wrong stuff. If this is a kid-friendly show, things that are more adult entertaining. And that was actually interesting to see because of what's been happening in the world lately, that you have to stoop to that particular line of income. Not to say that it's wrong. I mean, you got to pay the bills and everything like that. So you got to do what you got to do. I'm just saying that there's too much money out here to think that you only have one source of income while you're working your 9 to 5, while you can also work your 9 to 5 and get paid without even thinking. Once you have to do the legwork to set up everything and just let the funds roll in. I mean, I've seen people flip. I mean, for one strategy that you can actually look into, which is turning Printful. I'm not even I'm gonna try to fill that out. There is a thing called printful.com where you can actually go in and print out something, and you don't even have to have the inventory, and set it up on Etsy. So somebody can go to your Etsy's business page, buy something from Etsy, which ultimately is going to Printful, and they get the item. You just get cash in between. So you don't even have to touch anything once you set it up. You can make some funny notifications on a shirt, make some mugs, and then send it on your way. Now, the cool thing with Printful, it also syncs up with Amazon, which I thought was pretty interesting. So if you set up an Amazon store, you can actually set up things from Printful, put that onto Amazon, and start making money that way too. So I actually am working on that, by the way. So I'll keep you all posted on how that goes once I get my Amazon store set up, because I think that'll be interesting. I just want to see if it's doable. For those of you who have been watching me slowly grow my merch and also products throughout the time since I started this show, it has really, I'm just trying out everything the best way that I can provide information to you all, the best way that you can all support the show at the same time. Instead of just doing it at a monetary value, I also want you to have something just to kind of show your support for your friends or family, and that, you know, you're actually gaining some information from this show. All right. I think I've talked quite a bit because my voice is starting to hurt. And I think that should be it. All right. If there's anything else that anybody would like for me to talk about on the show, please either shoot me an email at anthony@aboutthatwallet.com. You can even leave me a voicemail message at anchor.com, anchor.fm/aboutthatwallet. You can leave me a voicemail message there. And I even have a phone number, which I thought was pretty cool, that I just set up. You can even give me a call or even a text at 833-699-2558 and leave me a voicemail message. And so I can actually play that back on the show. And I think that'll be really cool, just to kind of get some feedback from some of the listeners. And please, 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 whatever you do, if you have Apple account and you listen to this on Apple Podcasts, scroll down to the very bottom, give me those 5 stars, and leave me a comment there. I'll be looking forward to them. And don't forget, I am also on YouTube. Some of you are watching this right now on YouTube. But if you're on YouTube, click the link at the bottom below. Give me the thumbs up, like, subscribe, share. Don't forget, if you are listening to this on the podcast, remember to subscribe, share with friends or family, especially if you like anything on the show. And let's get to know about that wallet. All right, I'm signing off.